Hello. I want to play stupidly complex games inside of Minecraft. But to do that, you need knowledge, experience, and a bunch of assets. We will develop these inside this tutorial series. Make sure you don't miss out by subscribing. Ones and zeros are cool, but we need to learn how they work, as well as how Redstone works. But before we get into it, I just want to thank all of you for the support on my most recent video. 100 views is a lot for me. Please consider subscribing. We might have crossed Redstone in the cave, but not thought about it much. We also probably crossed it in the creative menu and skipped it to get who knows what. But it can be used to create some amazing things, like the computer that I made. But before we dig into binary, we should probably dig into how each component works. First, let's do redstone dust. It has 16 signal strengths, going from 0 all the way to 15. Pretty simple. It acts like a wire, can move in almost any pattern, and conduct redstone signal strength, yeah. Next, we have the torch. The torch acts like a NOT gate because it can power anything around it, but the second that there's input going into the block that it's connected to, it unpowers. Yeah. It just powers everything around it on top, but yeah. Using this, you can make a simple. Yeah. Next, we have the repeater, which is also pretty simple. Input comes in, and it can extend the signal length back up to 15. See, it goes from 12 to 15. But what it also does is delay it by a couple of seconds. If we just get ourselves a lever here, it's that 4-tick delay. So flicking that lever on, there's a massive delay in between it. And even with no delay, there is still a tiny delay, and that's why some redstone computers are really, really slow. Last but not least, we have the most confusing block of them all, a comparator. So in this mode, it takes the back, and if the side is greater than the back, it's a 0. It can also read from barrels, because if you just put something in it, it can detect if there's something in it. And in subtraction mode, it can still read from barrels, but it takes the back, which is 14, minus the side, which is 13, which equals 1. And you can then extend it with a repeater if you want. So that's all the redstone components, and now we just need to talk about binary. Binary is pretty self-explanatory. By self-explanatory, I mean confusing. Probably seen binaries in the movie, but it's a bunch of ones and zeros. And most of the time, it's read from left to right. And most of the time, it's read from right to left. So this is a 1, 0, 1, 0, and we should probably talk about what it actually represents. If you're older than the age of 2, you've heard of the base 10 system. It's how there's a bunch of bases, and each one has a digit from 0 to 10, representing different numbers. This is similar to base 10, but it's base 2, meaning that this represents a 1, this represents a 2, this represents not a 3, but a 4. 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, 1024, 2040, 4000, and how it works, this is a 1, 0, 1, that's a 1, that's a 4, 1 plus 4 equals 5. Let's see if you know any of this, and I'll put a couple questions on screen. Answer them. I'll check your answers in the comments. Yeah, leave them there. The video is almost over, but let's talk about some logic gates as well. So we need to use wool, because that's the only thing you can make redstone out of. And let's talk about 2 logic gates. We've already talked about one, the NOT gate. It's the input, but reversed. But there's another one. I mean, there's a lot more, but here's another one. The AND gate, so both of the levers have to be on for the output to be on. So if that one's off, it's gonna be off. That one's off, it's gonna be off. Doesn't matter what combination, they both have to be on for it to be on. There are a bunch of other gates, like XOR, OR, NOR, NAND, XNOR, which is pretty important. Why am I lagging? We'll talk about those in the next episode. Don't forget to subscribe because it helps out a ton, and as you already know, me like big numbers. So yeah, duck out.